Good morning. This is Seek of the Scuff coming to you live with Ace Attorney Investigations. Now, this game, to my knowledge, is not especially long, which is why I'm hoping that we can finish it today. I actually planned for yesterday's stream to be quite a bit longer than it ended up being, and it didn't happen because my voice, obviously, is not quite accustomed to doing this again yet, after taking such a long and unprompted break. But today, I'm feeling a whole lot better, so we're going to see how far we can get. And hopefully that length is through the rest of the game, like I said. Now, the running theory was that, what was it? The blonde flight attendant is the one behind all this, and there's a smuggling scheme going on, because why would it be Borginia if it's not a smuggling scheme? But we won't get into the details, because we have more investigation to do right now. Okay, I suppose I can't leave right now. I suppose I had to talk to Gumshoe, probably? No, not really. Let's see. Do I have... I can't do logic right now. Just see where we left off. Yeah, bloody cloth. There is a pattern on it, which indicates that it was folded, perhaps. Perhaps. Or maybe just blood from a lot of sources. Okay, I did have to talk to Gumshoe. Just need to confirm. So, how's the initial investigation going? We just shipped body off to the coroner's office, and we're taking statements now, sir. That sounds like Franziska. She was always good at quick responses to a case. I'd say she was, a little too quick, sir. Oh? How so? I rushed on over as soon as I got word of the affair, sir. But somehow, when I got here, Miss Von Karma was already here barking out orders at everyone. It was kind of creepy, as though she knew there had been a murder or something, and had come in advance to await your flight's arrival. That is sort of odd. She did show up rather quickly and out of the blue. Plus, I still don't know why she's here in America. There must be some backstory to all of this. Miss Von Karma just kind of popped up at the prosecutor's office about a week ago, sir. Something about chasing down leads related to a certain incident. No details? It's kind of top secret, so she can't talk about it, even with me, sir. Knowing her, the only type of talking she likes to do is with her whip. Plus, I doubt the top secret part was what stopped her from talking to you, Detective. Although, I wonder if her case has anything to do with mine. Anyway, that's about all the information I have, sir. We should find out more as we investigate. Yes, it is high time to resume my investigation. Starting with talking to the people involved in this case afresh. Alright, well I don't see any of them about here. Oh, they're back in the plane. Hey, there's the captain. Finally get to see him. So, you must be the captain. Why, yes, what voice to give him? Why, yes I am. And who might you be? I am the prodigy prosecutor, Franziska Von Karma, and I have a few questions for you. Don't you dare, Captain, getting friendly with another woman. I'll never forgive you if you do. What are you talking about? I only have eyes for you, my dear Cammy. I wouldn't bet money on our dear captain to be much of a reputable person. Sure you don't want to ask the captain some questions, sir? He was in the cockpit the entire time. I highly doubt he would know anything of use. That seems out of character for you, Edgeworth. Usually you're the type to latch onto anything. Anyway, I like to leave that type of witness to Franziska and her whip. That's the part that makes sense. Ah! Told you so. I guess you did. Huh. Hold on. I was just thinking for a second that the bloodstained cloth looks similar to this guy's vest, but I suppose that's doesn't make much sense, yeah? Yeah. Now see here! Sorry, I'm so sorry. How long do you intend to hold me? It is impossible for me to be the criminal, I told you. Mr. LeBlanc. Oh, it's you. Tell this man to stop stopping me from going. Time is money. I don't have even 1 second of wasteful time to spend. Well, let's see what you guys have to say. Did you finish taking his statement yet? Yep, all done, sir. I do not concern if you're not done examining the cargo hold. I want my cargo back. If you make a single scratch on my art, you will pay. Art? What sort of art? Oh, Mr. LeBlanc is an art dealer, so he's got a bunch of artwork down in the cargo hold, sir. There's practically a mountain of them, large and small. From folk costumes to stone statues, I sell all kinds of art. Folk costumes? Speaking of which, Mr. LeBlanc's hat. It kind of looks like the other piece of cloth. Oh, I knew I wasn't crazy. Okay. Yes, let me present that to you. Mr. LeBlanc, can you please take a look at this for me? Oh, it's a Borginian cloth. As I suspected, your hat is made of the same material, I suppose? Yes, of course. This fabric is so famous. Orders come from all overseas for more. Then, this is the cargo you were talking about earlier. No. My cargo this time is much gigantic. You, detective, when can I have my cargo moved? You can get your cargo back when we're done investigating, pal. The stubbornness of you police it is no good. And it is no good that attendant refuses to exit the attendance room, too. That attendant? I wonder if he's talking about Miss Tenero. Ooh, that's important, yeah. What do you mean by that attendant, Mr. LeBlanc? She was taken to the attendance room for her interview. And then they still have not come out. They make no sign of coming out either. I was finished with my own interview much earlier, quicker than her. Why is Miss Tenero's interview the only one that's taking up so much time? Miles Edgeworth, you were given free rein to examine the plane, weren't you? Yes, I was able to obtain the cooperation of the flight attendants. Speaking of attendants, I'd like to speak with Miss Tenero. I wonder if you might grant me permission to enter the flight attendants' room. Before I do, you still have to clear up a few issues surrounding your own circumstances. I understand. You may have tricked those attendants with your sophisticated talking, but you can't pull the wool over my eyes, Miles Edgeworth. Let's not complicate things and go with the most obvious conclusion. The scene of the crime was here, in the very lounge the body was discovered. From the time the victim was seen calling for an attendant until his body was found, the only person in this lounge the entire time was you, Miles Edgeworth. This, unmistakably, makes you the likeliest suspect. The likeliest suspect, Franziska? Do you have a problem with that? No, but it's not like you to use such vague wording. You're usually a bit more absolute. I'm simply trying to watch out for you. Or is my kindness too hard for you to comprehend? Thank you, but your leniency is unnecessary, for I will prove my innocence soon enough. If I want to continue my investigation, I'll have to break her line of logic fast. Alright, where do we want to go with? Well, no, the scene of the crime was not in here. It was in the elevator, actually. Is that where do I want to present that immediately? I don't think so. We can press her and then present it.
Hold it!
So tell me, Franziska, do you know all there is to know about the crime scene? I know all that I need to know in order to arrest you. And nothing more? Are you saying there is more I need to know? Why did you whip me, sir? Sorry, Scruffy. My hand must have slipped. It would appear that Franziska doesn't have all the facts of this case yet. That makes it sound like I should just keep pressing. Unless I can present something right here. Well, the crime scene was actually in the elevator. So I'm just going to present that. Because that, to me, that would be my starting point. But I suppose that's not the case for Edgeworth. Oh, Edgeworth. Why do you make this so difficult for me? Do I use the wheels? No, I don't have... I do actually have them right here. I suppose we'll just keep pressing her then. From the time the victim was seen calling for an attendant until his body was found, the only person in the lounge the entire time is you, Miles Edgeworth. Well, that's not true. We have the footprints, but we're going to press you first.
Hold it!
While it's true that I was in the lounge the whole time, that fact alone does not make me the criminal.
Objection!
Ha! We'll see about that at the conclusion of this investigation. However, there is one thing that even you must admit at this time. I'm gonna press you there. You know about Miles's fear of earthquakes, right? Under the circumstances, I suppose I can agree that I am the most likely suspect. Oh, but I believe in you, sir. I don't think you did it. And Miss Von Karma's gotta believe that too, right? I mean, you two are like siblings. Ah, hey! Quiet, Scruffy. Even if we were related by blood, that's no guarantee that he's not a criminal. Franziska, I demand to see some proof that you are not the guilty party. Huh, the likeliest suspect, huh? What a roundabout euphemism. But it would appear that she doesn't yet know about the new evidence we acquired and where we acquired it. I'll take care of the gaps in her logic one hole at a time. Okay, we're just gonna present the wheel, yeah? I think I use the case, yeah? I mean, that seems like what it should be to me, because the case was in the shop. Oh, I suppose I use the piggy bank then? I mean, it could be either way. Okay, here's the thing. This is dumb. This is one of the issues I've been having with the game. Is that these arguments they make are so full of holes, and I don't know how Edgeworth wants to start off tearing them apart. Because I could say, oh no, someone else was here because someone took the piggy bank out. No, someone else was here because there's footprints. No, the crime scene was actually the elevator, which could have been on any of the 3 floors it has access to. I could also say that the body was moved into the shop. Once again, only one person has access to it. It's hard to say. So I think we're gonna go with the piggy bank first, yeah?
Objection!
No, not the piggy bank. Okay. You know, that was a lot of dialogue. If we get something wrong again, we can present it again. Or we can actually read it. I'm so used to skipping through all the failure dialogue because it's just like the same short line over and over in the other games. Let's see. Well, I suppose we can just press the other things first. No, wait, oh, I did not mean to do that. I was about to say, the game's been rather explicit that we need to use evidence. Don't you think you're being a little bit rash by simply declaring me the suspect? I like my affairs to be simple and perfect. I'll show you the meaning of both when I finish this whole thing within 3 minutes. Hey, you say that like you're cooking a pack of instant noodles. Ah, hey, stop it. I won't allow even 3 seconds of useless testimony to be uttered in my presence. I see, she hasn't changed a bit. But I won't allow her to send me to prison so easily. Okay, seeing the crime was here, and the very lounge the body was discovered. Well, no. Is this the starting point that he wants to use?
Objection!
Ah, okay, that's what he wants to use. Good. Miles, you are so hard to figure out. It would appear that you did not have all the information you needed after all. And what does that mean? I found a nice piece of evidence just before I was forced to stop investigating. A piece that proves that the body was moved from a different location. The killer used this suitcase to move the victim's body, meaning that the real scene of the crime is not this lounge at all.
Objection!
Now who's the one rashly jumping to conclusions? Excuse me? All you did was find a piece of cloth inside the suitcase. That doesn't prove that the body was moved. It could be that the killer simply chose that suitcase as a good place to hide the cloth. I expected you would come to that conclusion. It would seem I can't escape that easily. You should know better than that. Von Karma is perfect in every way. But did you know that the killer definitely wheeled the suitcase around at some point?
Objection!
As if there was proof of that. There's actually two pieces of proof. There's grape juice on the wheel, and there's also prints here.
Take that!
The spilled grape juice in front of the elevator. Yes, and I'd like to draw your attention to this area here. Where is the evidence that... Oh, this is him speaking to the player. Oops. Anyway, just be a bit precise there.
Take that!
This mark here. Wouldn't you say it looks suspiciously like tracks from two wheels? I suppose. Furthermore, there's also grape juice residue on the wheels of the suitcase. This means that the suitcase containing the victim's body definitely passed through here. I suppose this means that the killer did move the victim's body from somewhere else. I'm glad you've come to your senses.
Objection!
Not so fast. This still doesn't put you in the clear, not by a long shot. You prepared yourself and acquired the piggy bank before the plane hit the turbulence. Nope, that's a flaw. And then you waited for the victim in the lounge where you beat him to death. Then, while you were in the elevator with the victim's body stuffed into the suitcase, the plane hit that patch of turbulence and out flew the body from within the suitcase. With no way out, you hastily put the suitcase back where you had taken it from, and pretended to be the discoverer of the body. Franziska, I thought you were supposed to be smart. Not bad for a bit of logic for something you thought up on the fly. Just what are you insinuating? That I will show you exactly how flawed your logic is. No matter how strong of a face you put on, not even you can hide your fears from me. I'll expose the flaws in her logic in one fell swoop. Well, we can go ahead and do this. It was acquired after the turbulence.
Objection!
That was pretty quick. The fact that you took this piece of evidence into account in your testimony is to be commended. Your legal prowess is certainly something to be feared. Evidence and logic, essential tools that those who would stand in a courtroom must learn to master. But what if there was a fake piece of evidence thrown into the mix? A fake? This Captain Ugo piggy bank is just such a fake. It is not the real murder weapon. But what? You know, I feel like there should be music here. Yes, well, we shall ignore that for now. The timing... Oh, here it is. The timing of when the bank was taken from the shop is important. And it was taken after the turbulence has occurred. But then what about the blood on the bank? What do you make of that? I assume it was added after the murder when the killer fabricated this weapon. Looking at it this way, the killer basically did three things after the turbulence. After exiting the elevator, the killer brought the suitcase to the shop and left it there. Then the killer proceeded to pick up the bank from off the floor and took it to fabricate a fake murder weapon by hitting the victim on the head. Finally, the victim's wallet was planted on my personage, in my pocket to be precise. Everything was done so that I would be framed for the murder of Mr. Ackby Hicks. You there! Yes, ma'am. Other than this piggy bank, was anything else resembling a murder weapon found? We didn't find anything in this lounge or in the shop that could be used as one, ma'am. Most of the items that could have been used were broken during the turbulence. And the remaining items all tested negative for any trace of blood. I see. Well, Miles Edgeworth, it appears your stall tactics are at an end. But it's possible that it's just hidden somewhere, sir. If the criminal had wanted to hide the weapon in a safer place, I think the weapon would have been hidden in the same place as the bloody cloth. Exactly what I was thinking. Because the cloth was hidden inside that suitcase, it signals to me that the killer had not prepared a more secure place to hide the evidence, which means that the real murder weapon is either still on the murderer's personage, or is still at the real crime scene.
Objection!
There's one more possibility, and that would be that the piggy bank is in fact the real weapon. But didn't we just... Hold it! Let me finish. The killer took the bank out from the display case before the turbulence by opening the lock on the display case door. And it was at that time that the glass pane in the door was broken. I see, that's a perfectly reasonable line of reasoning, wouldn't you? Let's see. So that means that the killer had the key to the display case. Franziska, the person you were talking about. Not so fast, I'm not finished. The person I'm talking about also committed another sin. She tricked the captain and granted you permission to conduct your investigation. Yes, it is the sin of lying. Speaking of which, I recall that you also wished to speak with her. Yes. Very well. Permission granted, but only if I can sit in on your interrogation. Do we understand each other? I have no intention of interrogating her, but you are welcome to accompany me if you so wish. Miss Tenero is in the flight attendant's room. Let's move. There we go. Well, it's a bit easy to tell whose bed is whose. Let's see. Let me take a look around for a second. Keep our cabin clean. There's art being kept in here. Presumably because there was not enough room in the cargo hold. Let me see something. I do not have a zoomed in picture of you, but you guys do look like you're wearing your bow properly. I just hit button on accident. Okay. Why is the okay, I guess it's because it's messy. So, you're the one that poked around inside this plane without the captain's permission. Deviating from the flight attendant's manual is very unbecoming, you know. What were you hoping to accomplish by doing that? Miss Tenero. Ah, Mr. Edgeworth, you're here too? Can you please help us and shed some light on why what you did? Alright. What's been going on up until now? Weren't you being questioned? Oh wow, that is a very messy trash can. Why did you lie about receiving the captain's permission like that? Because I didn't think I would be able to get his permission. What do you mean? The captain, he only has ears for Cammy. I spoke with the captain a little earlier myself. He definitely seems to be rather taken with Miss Mealy. Yes, and on top of that, I had mistakenly accused Mr. Edgeworth of being the killer. I wanted to make amends. In that case, please allow me to thank you for what you did. Thanks to you, I was able to clear myself of all charges. Really? You were able to prove your innocence? Oh, thank goodness. Miss Tenero, is it? There is one more thing I'd like to ask you. You were in the in-flight shop just before the turbulence, weren't you? Please, answer honestly. Yes, I was. And why were you there? Well, Why the sudden hesitation? Franziska seems to have struck a nerve. All I did was go check up on the shop like I always do. You're saying it was for work then? Yes. I'm in charge of the shop, so I had to keep an eye on it. I don't have any reason to go there otherwise. After your visit to the shop, you paid a visit to this room, correct? Yes, I came back to freshen up and adjust my makeup. I'm sorry, but there isn't much else to tell. Miss Tenero claims to have no reason other than duty to go to the shop. But is that all there is to it? Maybe I should ask her about that thing. Yes. Let me ask you about the suitcase. I think. If you could please take a look at this for me, Miss Tenero. Oh, that suitcase. Yes, about the suitcase. You are the one who designed it, correct? And I think I figured something else out about it. This suitcase is the reason you went to the shop, isn't it? There's nothing you won't find out eventually, is there? Won't you please tell me more about the suitcase? Yes, well, I was interested in seeing how the suitcases I had designed were selling. I know that as a service professional, I'm not supposed to care, but I really wanted to know. And I was glad to see it was the last one there. The last one there? Ooh, that's important. So you're saying, Miss Tenero, the suitcase in question was the last one? Yes, They're just so popular, they're practically flying off the shelves. That's not exactly the impression I got. The one in the shop is the most definitely the last one. Well, we're currently looking at that suitcase. Really? Then I guess we sold all of them. Thank you very much for taking the last one. I didn't say anything about buying it. Then you say you'll buy it. I'm sorry, I can't. But why? I think it'd go great with your complexion, Mr. Edgeworth. It really suits you. I guarantee it personally as a service professional. Well, that is... How should I put this? It's hideous. What? Maybe that was a bit too direct. Moving on, my issue with the suitcase isn't the design, it's the number of them remaining. Remaining? There were 2 suitcases in the in-flight shop when I investigated it. 2? But that's impossible. I'm sure there was only 1. Looks like her story has generated quite the contradiction. When I left the shop, I'm positive there was only 1 suitcase left. Something is amiss here. What could be the meaning of this inconsistency? By the way, Miss Tenero, what is one of those suitcases doing here? That's... I thought you said there was only 1 left. That one is, it's mine. I used it for a very long time now. And you still have the tag on it? Excuse me? She used it for a long time? I think not. Miss Tenero, I appreciate it if you wouldn't lie to me. But, excuse me? I don't believe for even 1 second that you've used this for a very long time. Yes, the tag.
Take that!
Tell me, Miss Tenero, is it also your habit to keep the price tag pristine on your suitcase? What is the meaning of this? Why would you lie about a suitcase? Despite having faith in her design sense, the sales numbers made her cry bitter tears. The truth is becoming increasingly clear to me. Miss Tenero, I think I understand. I know what you are trying to hide. Now then, this suitcase was originally in the in-flight shop. Seeing as how the price tag is still on this suitcase, one can only assume it was out on the floor for sale in the shop. And the person who bought the suitcase was none other than you.
Take that!
It was you, wasn't it, Miss Tenero? I hate to say this, but this suitcase that you designed, it hasn't sold very well, has it? You saw how poorly this design that you poured your heart into was selling, and you were deeply hurt. That's why you wanted to make it look like it was selling by buying it yourself. Isn't that right? Then, the reason you went to the shop and came back here was... I'm so sorry. All I really have is my job. I was overjoyed when my design was chosen. I thought that maybe I had finally accomplished something. But the suitcases didn't sell. It's because of the design, isn't it? All because it's, as you put it, hideous. I can't say they chose a great place in which to sell them either. That was a strange delivery. We weren't selling a single one, and they were just sitting there collecting dust. I felt so bad seeing them there, day in, day out. So I decided to buy one for every flight I worked. You buy one every single time you work a flight? I see. So, in order to keep your resolution, you went and bought one today as well. Yes, and here is my receipt for the purchase. This receipt is clearly time-stamped at 5:40 a.m. The truth is, there's still a bunch of them left unsold. They're planning to scrap the remaining ones at the end of this flight. Miss Tenero, where are these other suitcases? They should all be down in the cargo hold. Then, the suitcase the killer used could very well have come from the cargo hold. Mr. Edgeworth, you don't think that the killer used one of my suitcases to... Yes, I do. The killer used one of your beloved suitcases to move the victim's body. But how could they? Those suitcases were meant to be faithful partners to our passengers on their trips. That's all I ever wished for them to be. Miss Tenero, is there any other way to get to the cargo hold other than the elevator? The only other way is just through the door over there. And what about security? That door has no special lock installed because just to enter this room, you need a special keycard that only crew members have access to. Which means the culprit is someone who can enter this room, eliminating the passengers and leaving only the crew members as potential suspects. I can't believe it. Yes, Franziska. Going on these wild goose chases, you're a disgrace to the Von Karma name. And what do you mean by that? I don't recall ever being a Von Karma. The suitcase came from the cargo hold. That fact alone tells the whole story. Yes, which is why I said the culprit must have been a crew member who used their keycard. Miles Edgeworth, you're proposing the killer rode the elevator from the cargo hold, correct? Yes. That's the only realistic possibility. That other attendant, Miss Mealy, I asked her earlier and she had this to say. Franziska got information out of Miss Mealy. In order to make the elevator go down to the cargo hold, a different keycard is required. A different one? Yes, and the only person who holds that particular card is you, Miss Rhoda Tenero, and only you. What? Is this true, Miss Tenero? Yes, I keep that keycard in my locker at all times. Could you please show us that card right now? Yes, hold on. I don't believe it. What's wrong? The keycard, it's gone. Very clever. Pretending that your card was stolen, when in fact you were just trying to hide it from us. You've really thought this through. Wait, it's not like that. You can tell us all about what it's like down at the station. Officer, arrest this woman. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Edgeworth? Oh, and there she goes. Bye-bye. See you later. What's wrong? There's this... oh, man. There's disbelief written all over your face. Franziska, I know that you are the lead investigator on this case, however... Hold it! Don't even think about wasting any more of my time. You know the rules as well as I do. Evidence speaks louder than words. Even if this isn't a courtroom, that basic tenet still applies. I intend to investigate the cargo hold now. What will you do, Miles Edgeworth? I intend to do likewise. Oh, man, I was so close to this last time. Oh, but you can't really do anything when your throat starts giving out, eh? Oh, right, and I accidentally made 2 save files, yes. Well, we can save over this one. Oh, wow, so this is the cargo hold, huh? I'm gonna go ahead. It's so big! That is very big considering what the plane looked like from the outside. This plane is a special model. It has both super large cargo hold and an ultra luxurious first class seating. So, is this the real scene of the murder? There is certainly a high possibility of that, which is why we are here, correct? Okay, let's get investigating, sir. Let's just take a walk around. Here's the lift. Some very flammable cargo. An open suitcase. All the spare suitcases. And ice. Yeah, Borginia to USA. Grape juice. Yeah. Bed sheets. Whew. And it looks like we also have some cargo from Zhengfa. Well, let's start with the obvious, the lift. Oh, I just love pushing buttons on elevators and crosswalk signals. Here, you should give it a try, sir. Go on, push it. The elevator is currently stopped on the first floor, Detective. It can't move. Oh, yeah. I guess nothing would happen if you pushed it now. Well, nothing would happen normally anyway without a special key card. Both the door to the attendance room and the elevator's control panels require a key card, which makes it impossible for a passenger to come down here. Holy suitcases, Mr. Edgeworth. It's like an all-you-can-use suitcase fair. These must be the leftover ones they couldn't sell. The ones the company is planning to dispose of after this flight is over. This paint job is really cool, don't you think? It practically screams artsy. Oh, why not purchase one then? I'm sure it will bring you much happiness. You think so? Then maybe I will. Let's see here. $1,200? I think I'll pass, sir. And Miss Tenero wonders why they don't sell. You need 2 jobs just to buy one. Although, it definitely looks like one is missing. What is this brittle substance I'm stepping on? It's a bunch of glass fragments. Oh, the glasses broke down here. That's important to note. Let's check this cargo. Keeping track of this many pieces of cargo must be very taxing on the cargo crew. I'm sure this brings back memories of when I worked as a this sure brings back memories of when I worked as a part-time mover, sir. By the look of his eyes, he's waiting for me to ask about the rest of the story. But no matter how he pours it on the puppy eyes, I have no intention of doing so. No, don't be mean to Gumshoe. Why would you do that? I didn't know that this plane was capable of carrying such large pieces of cargo. This thing's as tall as 2 of you on top of each other, sir. It would probably take 20 of you to cover the entire surface of this monstrosity. What? Really? Yeah, I guess that sounds about right. There's really no need to take that throwaway estimate seriously, Detective. Okay, check the flammable stuff. All sorts of boxes are piled up here. This one says flammable, and this one, it says pharmaceuticals. This one says for exorcism use only. Just what kind of operation is this airline running? Hey, what's with the suitcase, pal? It's what the victim checked in, sir. So, the suitcase belongs to Mr. Hicks. I don't think he'd mind if we took a closer look. There's nothing out of the ordinary in here, sir. Wait, a file? And there's a photo of Miss Von Karma in it, sir. It looks like a profile on Franziska. Why would Mr. Hicks have had a file on her? Well, let's do some logic real quick. Broken glasses and glass shards. I think we can safely conclude that the fragments are from a pair of glasses. And the victim was wearing a pair of broken glasses. Exactly what I was thinking. I'm sure that the shards would match up perfectly with the remnants of his glasses lens. Ergo, the victim was here, just as I suspected. So you're saying that the real scene of the crime was here, sir? Isn't that what I've been saying this whole time? Oh, is it? I didn't know that. Perhaps it's a bit early to draw that conclusion. However, I believe that the probability has just skyrocketed considerably. All that's left is to find them. Oh, hey. First bot of the night. And goodbye, bots. Blam. Back to the game. All that's left is to find the murder weapon. Well, we don't have anything on that right now, but we can probably talk to Franziska. You arrived at the scene of the crime before Detective Gumshoe, correct? And you then immediately began to direct the investigation. It seems to me that you were already here at this airport for something else besides this murder. Yes, I was. I've been following a very large and involved governmental-level international crime, but it's much too large for one person to take on alone, so it was decided that I should form a joint investigation with Interpol. Interpol was involved. It's a top-secret operation, so I can't really tell you any more than I already have. Okay, well, that's a pretty interesting thing. Connect those two together, please. Now, why would Mr. Hicks have documents profiling Franziska? Oh, I know. I bet he's a big fan of Miss Von Karma, sir. Franziska said that she had come to this airport as part of an Interpol investigation. Oh, maybe Mr. Hicks had heard she was coming here and he followed her. Detective, I think it's more likely that Mr. Hicks was, in actuality, Interpol agent Hicks. I think Franziska has some explaining to do. You came to this airport to rendezvous with the victim, didn't you? Nonsense! What are you talking about? We found a profile detailing information about you and the victim's luggage. I suppose it was prepared for him so that he could recognize you when he landed. Which makes him not Mr. Hicks, but rather Interpol Agent Hicks. Isn't that correct? I should have known you'd figured it out, Miles. But it looks like they got him. It looks like they got him to him first. So, you really did come here to receive an Interpol agent, then? Yes. Agent Hicks was on the trail of a very large internationally. Bleh. Agent Hicks was on the trail of a very large international smuggling ring. He went undercover to investigate this crime, and it was I who put him on the case. I was supposed to receive a call from him on his cell phone once he had landed. I never expected to receive a call about his murderer instead. I think we now have pretty definitive evidence that Agent Hicks came down here to the cargo hold. But what was he doing down here, sir? There's nothing but luggage. Oh, I get it. Maybe he forgot something in the suitcase and came down to get it. Hey! Agent Hicks came down here for a work-related reason. Of that, I'm sure. Yes, I'm sure he was here to investigate the smuggling operation he was observing. Franziska, do you know exactly how he intended to pursue his investigation? No. Unfortunately, I was going to find out from him after he landed. I see. But this raises another question. A normal passenger can't access the cargo hold on their own. Agent Hicks must have identified himself to a member of the crew, and entered the cargo hold with that person who let him in. Yes, and then he was murdered here. These glass fragments and his broken glasses are a testament to that. And then, the killer put Agent Hicks into one of the spare suitcases, and they entered the elevator. But while they were riding it up, the plane hit that patch of turbulence. Because of that, because of the intense shaking, the suitcase popped open and Agent Hicks's body flew out. At the same time, his wallet fell out of his pocket, spilling its contents everywhere. Which explains why there was money scattered all over the elevator floor. There we go, that was pretty easy. I think it's pretty easy to say who the culprit is at this stage. What? Really, sir? I have a feeling I'm going to disagree with you. I know what you're thinking, Miles Edgeworth, but the killer can be none other than that Miss Rhoda Tenero. If it was a crew member, any one of them could have shown Agent Hicks the cargo hold. But the point to keep in mind is the keycard allows the elevator to come down here. The only person with such a high-level access is Miss Rhoda Tenero. I'd say that's a pretty decisive piece of information, wouldn't you? I know what she's trying to say, but I'm not certain it's as simple as that. Ooh, hold on, let me check something real quick. Is that good? No, it's not good. Let me fix that. Fixing. I'm trying to fix, at least. Let's see. Plink. Did that fix it? I do hope so. No, it did not. We're gonna have to move things around a little bit, see if we can get this working again. There, okay. There's that. Give it a second. Do that. Ah, okay, there we go. Now it's working. We're all good on my end. It's back to the game. If it was a crew member, any one of them could have shown... Oh, right. We just read this. What am I doing? Alright, let's see here. Any one of them could have shown Agent Hicks to the cargo hold, you say? Only person with such a high access card is Rhoda. Well, I mean, we know she wasn't here because she has her receipt. And let me just... Do we have a... Where's the time frame written down? From 6:15 to when? Okay, Ackby was in his seat at 5, found dead at 6. let's press this real quick.
Hold it!
Why would such an important thing like a keycard be entrusted to only one person? According to Cammy Mealy, Rhoda Tenero is in charge of the most of the important stuff. Then what exactly is Miss Mealy in charge of? Chatting it up with that foolish captain, apparently. She was being so foolishly foolish that I didn't even want to ask her what her other duties were. I understand how you feel, but whipping me just now was uncalled for. In the end, the only one who could have let Agent Hicks into that hold was Rhoda Tenero. I'd say that's a pretty decisive piece of information, wouldn't you? There's not a single flaw in Franziska's reasoning. However, there must be something I can work with that I can draw out of her. I did not mean to push that button, but okay.
Hold it!
That might be true, but then it could be anyone, including Miss Mealy or even the captain. Don't be a fool. A plane without a pilot in the cockpit is like a horse without a rider, crop in the hand. Much like Scruffy over there. Hey! I can't disagree with her on that. Detective Gumshoe does always need a guiding hand. Very well, then what about the other flight attendant, Miss Mealy? Huh. I thought you might ask about her.
Hold it!
But it's highly likely that the keycard was stolen from Miss Tenero. It's highly likely? Is that possibility the best you can come up with? And you call yourself a disciple of my father. Yes, well, while I don't have any evidence, Be quiet. You're a disgrace. There's more evidence pointing to Miss Rhoda Tenero, you know. It's not just the keycard that gives her away. Are you talking about the murder weapon? The Captain Ugo piggy bank? Yes. She is also the only person with a key to open that display case. Okay. Matter of the key to display case. Well, there doesn't need to be a key. Right? Not necessarily. Because it would have broken out. Yeah? We can press on this. But that is a fake. Stop right there, Miles Edgeworth. You don't have any proof that this is just a red herring. If you must keep on insisting that it's fake, then what is the real murder weapon and where did it go? I mean, the cell phone's a pretty likely thing. Speechless, I see. That's not a surprise. After all, you know we've searched the entire cargo hold and came up empty-handed. There must be a way. There must be something that can help me rule out the piggy bank as the murder weapon. What should be examined further to help us ascertain the authenticity of the weapon? Well, the body isn't a bad choice. If we could actually do an autopsy, figure out if they were struck with the piggy bank, that would work. Let me take a look at this real quick. Yeah, you can definitely bonk some with that. Is this blood? There's some blood on one of the corners. Can this piggy bank be the murder weapon? Okay, that is blood. Just want to make sure it's not grape juice first. I mean, his hand looks like he was holding something. But considering he has his phone around his neck usually, I assume it's the statue. We could fingerprint the statue, yeah? Or the piggy bank. We should examine the bank itself once more to determine if it's a real murder weapon. If this is the real weapon, it should be damaged, or perhaps have a dent on it somewhere. We've looked into that already, and there's no sign of anything on it. But we can't discount it as the murder weapon on that one fact alone. The piggy bank is, after all, made of a stronger material than human flesh. Ugh. Okay. Well, how about the body, then? Actually, let's check the crime scene. I don't think we can do an autopsy right now. This is just me assuming this is how it's going to work. I think we should examine the crime scene in more detail. We might turn up the murder weapon if we search all the cargo and luggage. Did you think I hadn't thought of that? Even now, we're searching through them. But we haven't found anything that even closely resembles a murder weapon. Alright then. The body. I guess we can examine the body. I thought it got sent away already, though. Franziska, I think you were too quick to jump to your conclusions. Oh, was I? Yes. We don't even have the autopsy results yet. How can I say that you made a... How can I not say that you made a snap judgment when you have yet to even see... Hold on, I need to change something. There we go. How can I not say that you made a snap judgment when you have yet to even see if the wound on Agent Hicks's head is consistent with the murder weapon? Scruffy? Yes, sir? Contact the medical examiner's office at once. I wish to hear the results of Agent Hicks's autopsy. Yes, sir. Alright, fade to black. Fade back in. Oh, not yet. We've got a big problem, Mr. Edgeworth, sir. Oh? Big enough problem for you to ignore Franziska? What is it, detective? They're still doing the autopsy, but they said that they already know that this one thing for sure. Report, now. The doc said it's the one giant bruise from a... That's one giant bruise from a beating from his shoulder down to his mid-back. From the victim's shoulder to his mid-back? He was beaten over such a wide area? Well, I'd say maybe it's a sign the killer had a grudge against Agent Hicks. It wasn't just his head. The killer went all out and hit him multiple times, sir. Scruffy, what is had a grudge against Agent Hicks supposed to mean? Well, that's, was the wound on the victim's head consistent with the murder weapon, detective? Oh, well, they said they were still looking into that, sir. You are completely useless. Yeah, hey. Sir, I told you already, you can't go down there. No, you remove yourself from my way. What is all that racket? My luggage, my cargo, they're mine, and I demand you return them to me. We're still investigating the cargo hold. Please understand and have a little patience. I suppose there was no choice. Finally. I think he gave... Hey, what are you... You have left me no choice but to use strong force. Ah! You won't get past me. Oh. This is... Wait. That's it. So that's what this whole thing has been about. Furthermore, there's the matter of the key to the display case that held the murderous bank. After all, you knew that we've searched the entire cargo hold and came up empty-handed. The doc said it's one giant bruise from a beating from his shoulder down to his mid-back. Oh. Okay, well, I mean, I don't think they could have made that more obvious if they tried. So where do we start? Well, I think we start with this to establish the cause of death is falling, yeah? No? Okay, I guess not. Bit strange. Well, we can say the cause of death was not the piggy bank. How about that? Is that what you want me to say? Allegedly, the killer struck the victim many times over, which is why there's extensive bruising over such a wide area. But is that really the correct conclusion to draw from the evidence? The bruise from his shoulder to the middle of his back is one continuous mark, which is more suggestive of a single blow to the back. If that's the case, then the piggy bank is much too small to have caused that. Therefore, the murder weapon must be something far bigger. Well, the weapon couldn't be found, but apparently there's a sizable weapon. Which means he probably just died from falling. If we're looking for the rather large weapon, you'd think it would stick out. But so far, we haven't found anything that resembles a weapon of any sorts. Perhaps, just perhaps, it's something we all overlooked from the very beginning. Because normally it's too impossibly big to be taken into consideration. Well, what was that all about? Was he trying to jump his way down here? Franziska? What? What do you want? I found it, Franziska. I found the real murder weapon. You did? He really jumped! We didn't realize it until now, but the answer has been right in front of us this whole time. He might be hurt. We should go check up on him, sir. There's that pompous attitude of yours again. You should learn to drop that habit. And this coming from the prosecutor with the habit of whipping everyone she comes across. Anyway, if you were really a prosecutor, then you'll back yourself up with evidence. You two aren't listening at all, are you? Come on, then. Show me this real murder weapon if you speak of. So, are we saying that he fell, or are we saying that it's a suitcase? Because honestly, I think it could go either way.
Take that!
The real weapon is this suitcase. When you say it with such confidence, I suppose you must have some evidence. Of course, Agent Hicks was placed into the suitcase alive. And it was while he was in here that he was beaten head and... I didn't get to read that all the way. Beaten in the head and... Ah! I wonder if you would die if I whipped you from the head to toe right now. What are you thinking, woman? Of course I would. Oh, okay, well, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I think Edwards actually had a point there. I was going to explore that possibility because he could have been put in the suitcase and dropped down the stairs or something. Anyway, let's just go ahead and say that there is no weapon, shall we? I don't have any evidence to show you. Foolish reasoning for a foolish fool from a foolishly foolish fool meant to fool me. What do you mean by I don't have any evidence to show? Perhaps I should have phrased it as, that which caused Agent Hicks' death is incorporeal. Forgive me, but I do believe I have figured out what the real cause of death is. The victim fell from a great height and subsequently died as a result. In other words, the real cause of death is free falling to the ground. But he fell? Fell to his death? Yes, that is the only plausible possibility. The victim has an extensive bruising on the back of his head and back, and the only rational explanation for these injuries is that he fell to his death. But the murder happened inside this plane. I know. And you were claiming that there's some place in this plane from which he could have fallen from? As I said earlier, the answer has been right in front of us the entire time. You can't mean... Yes, I do. The victim fell from the top of the stairs of this very cargo hold. But what? Then, we're in trouble. We may have a second death on our hands, sir. Hey, you! Tell me you aren't dead, pal. Quiet. Why are you screaming? He's alive. And there you have it, Miles Edgeworth. It's not possible that Agent Hicks fell over from the railing to his death. That man is living proof of that. I suppose it's true that's not possible, given the current circumstances. The current circumstances? What is that supposed to mean? Suppose that large piece of cargo wasn't there at the time. What would have happened? He would have been a Borginian pancake for sure, sir. I suppose that man over there wouldn't still be breathing. But the reality is that the cargo box is there, so there's no point entertaining your wild hypothetical scenarios. It may be there now, but there is no proof that it was always there. Ha! As if there could have been a window of time for when that giant box was not there. Ah, but there was. What? We can show her with... what was it? Here.
Take that!
You refueled in the Republic of Zhang Fa? Yes, this flight had a short layover in Zhang Fa in order to refuel. But that wasn't the only reason for the layover. We also transferred some cargo. What if the box in question was only transferred onto the plane at that time? To further prove my point, let's take a look at what's next to the box in question. It's labeled Zhang Fa Express. Correct. Meaning it was loaded onto the plane in Zhang Fa. Now, what if the box in question was also loaded on at the same time? It would mean that the box was not here in the cargo hold during the Europe Zhang Fa leg of the flight. making a clear drop from which Agent Hicks could have fallen to his death entirely possible. Ah, but your theory is still very far-fetched. Then allow me a chance to prove how very likely my scenario is. My first order of business will be to examine that piece of cargo in more detail. Ah, investigation again. Here we go. This is a rather large piece of cargo. There's a tag on it, sir. Let's see. Aleph Red Statue. Never heard of it. Nor have I, but all I care about is if we can prove it wasn't here at the time of the crime. Then let's get investigating, sir. Hieroglyph. You look here. Do not go out hunting my possessions without my permission. Hey, don't rush up on me like that, pal. So, this belongs to Mr. LeBlanc, does it? I should see what else I can find out from him. I take it that this large piece of cargo belongs to you, Mr. LeBlanc? Well, of course it's mine. I shipped this fine piece of art from Europe. This Aleph Red Statue is worth 10 million cents. No, maybe much, much more. Mr. LeBlanc's reason for choosing this plane must have been the large cargo hold. 10 million cents? I suggest you stop trying to calculate how many packets of noodles that makes, Detective. Darn, how'd you know that? I feel like you keep getting better and better at seeing right through me every year. Though I grow with each revolution of the planet around the sun, I have the distinct impression he continues to madly spin in place. Hey, Mr. Edgeworth. So that 10 million cents, is that in euros or in dollars? Does it really make a difference to our case? Mr. LeBlanc, there is a chance that your cargo is related to our murder case. I was wondering if you would allow us to examine it a bit closer. It is a very valuable piece of art, so no, there will be no touching. Oh, really? Huh. Why don't we put these two together? Just to try it. Mr. LeBlanc has something to do with a smuggling ring. Then it's possible this fake statue was brought on board in Zhangfa. I think I need to question him a bit further. About your statue, Mr. LeBlanc, I wonder if it might be fake. Oh, what? How dare you say my art is fake? I suspect that your statue might be the target of an international smuggling ring. Don't say such fantastical things. Those thieves would not dare. I have the certification of my cargo right here. Do you mean the cargo certification document? Mr. Zinc LeBlanc, why didn't you say so earlier? Please show it to us at once. I can't read this. What does it say? It says as plain as day, the cargo was put onto the plane in Europe. And there you have it, Miles Edgeworth. Too bad for you. The statue was brought aboard in Europe, just as it states in the certificate. No, that's... Which means that there was never a window of time in which the statue wasn't sitting there. Okay. I respectfully disagree. You can't discount theory until I see the statue for myself. Huh. Then you have your wish. Look at it yourself and see I am right. This. I know I've seen this somewhere before. This is the Aleph Red? It gives off such a feeling of art. I can practically smell it. This statue has high amount of historic value. After it was unveiled at a museum in Europe, I brought it to this country to exhibit it. I believe a closer look is warranted here. So, this is the infamous Aleph Red statue, what is it, Mr. Edgeworth? Did you find something? There's something wrong with this picture. We should examine it in more detail. Yeah, what does it look like in this? Yeah, it has red eyes. Is this spot somehow connected to any of the evidence I hold? Yes, it is.
Eureka!
These eyes are awfully orange, don't you think? Yeah, I'm pretty. They remind me of sunsets when I was in grade school, sir. I don't think you see what I'm talking about. No, I do, but it's really like the color of the sun when it's setting, sir. Ah, the memories. I remember standing out in that field, spinning with my arms out until I felt ill. I don't care about sunsets, detective. Focus. What color are the eyes in this photo? Huh? Ah, hey! Sir, they're red! As I thought. This statue is a fake. Mr. LeBlanc, what do you want? Do you not know I am a busy man? I will allow you 2 seconds for your answer. The olive red. I suppose this is your pride and joy, is it not? It is the biggest trophy on this European trip. Do you know why I wanted to possess this statue? The trigger started 17 years ago. Better grab a chair, sir. Sounds like this is going to be a long story. Mr. LeBlanc, I regret to inform you, and you have my heartfelt sympathy, but... What is it? Sympathy? For what? You'll see. I'd like you to compare the eyes. That large fellow there has very bright and pretty eyes compared to you. I wasn't talking about the two of us. I meant the eyes of the statue in front of us and the one in this photo. Why all of a sudden yelling? Now then. Raw! It is a photo of the statue on display at the museum in Europe. Gah! Hey! Now, do you see, Mr. LeBlanc? The statue before us is a fake. Fake! No! I believe that even further examination will be required, now that we have confirmed that this is indeed a fake. There must be some sort of proof that it was brought on board in Zhangfa, and I will present to you evidence that will resolve the remaining contradiction. Do we deduce? Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Where do we want to go? There seems to be splatters on top of it. Is that just on the glass? I think that's just on the glass, because the marks are down here too. Oh, well, there it is. It's because the cloth for the Zhangfa Express is underneath it. What's this? Oh, the statue looks like it's stepping all over its neighbor's cloth cover. It kind of resembles its owner's attitude in a sense. Oh, you, what did you say now? Further, my clothing's hem is not being stepped on by anyone. It is too expensive for me to allow that to happen. Please forgive the trespasses of my subordinate. Why should I forgive the trespasses? Unless it is an expensive dress, you keep it. Yes, this is connected to the evidence.
Eureka!
There is clearly a contradiction here. What are you going on about? It's just a simple case of cargo cover getting stuck under another piece of cargo. That felt like a weird line. It's not possible. But it is. It shouldn't be this way, but the statue is on top of a cloth. Supposing that the neighboring piece of cargo was brought on board in Zhangfa, there is no way that any part of it should wind up under something from Europe. Which means that this fake statue was smuggled on board in Zhangfa. But then what about the cargo certificate? Let me ask in return, what about Agent Hicks? Why did he come down here in the middle of the flight? There was only one reason why, to secure proof of smuggling activity aboard this flight. So you say, but I don't believe he had to do that mid-flight. We could have just as easily inspected all the cargo after the plane landed. That may be true, however, you have it backwards, Franziska. Sure, Agent Hicks could have waited until after the plane had landed, but he had a reason for coming down to the cargo hold. Suppose he found the fake at the airport. It would have been after the swap had occurred. At that time, the suspicion would naturally fall onto the statue's owner, who would have no way to prove that the statue was switched without his knowledge. Which means there was someone involved who was forging or modifying cargo certificates. There we go, investigation complete. Seems like we're nearing the end. I guess the victim knew the real version of this was going to get nabbed, huh? Yes. While this photo would be seen as nothing more than a simple souvenir, It was, in fact, taken to be used as reference document later on. Next, Agent Hicks had to secure proof that the smuggling had taken place. He came down here to take a picture of the cargo hold. A rather empty one at that, right before the fake statue could be loaded aboard. A photo of the hold missing a valuable piece of cargo would have been a proof enough. After that, all he had to do was hold the Zhang Fa cargo crew and arrest the smuggler. Exactly. This only goes to prove my theory. If the statue was not in the cargo hold during the Europe-Zhang Fa leg of the trip, there would have been... man, I'm really starting to slip. There would have been enough height from which Agent Hicks could have fallen to his death. Officer, move this statue immediately. I want a thorough examination of the floor underneath. Now. Miss Von Karma, I'm ready to report my findings. Go on. After moving the Aelith Red statue out of the way, we tested the area under luminol, and there was a reaction. I see. There was a reaction to luminol, an indication that there was blood in that spot. Can we stop looking at it now, sirs? It would seem that my deductions were correct after all. I suppose it would appear that way. The culprit cleaned the blood up well. And how do you think the killer did that? With the cloth, yeah?
Take that!
The killer used a bloody cloth I found inside the suitcase to clean up the mess. I see. They had a need to clean up all the blood before the plane landed in Zhang Fa. Yes, because otherwise the cargo crew would have discovered it during the layover. So, you guys are saying that the murder happened before the plane landed in Zhang Fa? There is no other conceivable timeline for the events of the murder. But if that is true, then that throws a certain person's testimony into doubt. If the murder occurred before we landed in Zhang Fa, then this person becomes highly suspect. Who was it that said he was in his seat? Mealy. Recall Miss Mealy's testimony about Agent Hicks in regard to when we departed Zhang Fa. I saw Mr. Hicks sitting in his seat at 5 a.m., you know. She claims Agent Hicks was alive at the time of the service calls, but... Well, that totally contradicts the facts, sir. But why would she lie about something like that? I think the only person who can answer that is Miss Mealy herself. Oh, look at that, another to be continued. Are we really going to be talking to her for that long? Dang. Oh, still tired, I guess. Miss Mealy. Miss Mealy? Uh-huh. Do you recall what you said earlier? About when you answered some service calls as we were departing from Zhang Fa? Uh-huh. You said that Mr. Hicks was sitting in his seat at that time. However, that is simply not possible, because Mr. Hicks was dead long before we ever touched down in Zhang Fa. Oh? Miss Cammy Mealy. Maybe I didn't see what I thought I did? No one can make a mistake so large, Miss Mealy. But I make that kind of boo-boo all the time. This is going nowhere. There must be a better way of resolving this contradiction. Very well. Mealy, if you please, tell me about your alibi during the time span, from just before we were to land at 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. when the body was found. Are you telling me I'm a suspect, Mr. Edgeworth? Yeah. From 3 to 4, I was, in the flight attendant's room, all by my lonesome self. Yeah. And from 5 to 6, I was, in the flight attendant's room, all by my lonesome self. How is a man supposed to react to a testimony like that? Miss Mealy, wake up! She fell asleep again. It looks like the only way I'm going to be able to wake her up is by pressing her. Let's see, what do we got? 3 to 4, you're in the flight attendant's room by yourself. What do I have, actually, that... Let me see, 3 to 4, that would be mealtime, and 5 to 6 is drinks time. Okay. And what else do we have? You didn't say anything about what you're doing from 4 to 5.
Hold it!
Miss Mealy, how many times do I have to repeat myself? Wake up! Oh, I'm awake, I'm awake. Ah. Yeah, hey, what did you whip me for, sir? Oh, what did I miss? The poor detective being on the receiving end of a lash in your stead. Really? Sorry about that. You can make amends for that by continuing with your testimony. Okay, well, it's not especially helpful. Well, we know that's not true.
Objection!
I wonder if you would be so kind as to take a look at this receipt, Miss Mealy. Huh? A receipt? For what? It's for the suitcase Miss Tonero bought. Now, if I may direct your attention to the timestamp. As you can see, it clearly says 5:40 a.m. Miss Tonero. Yes? Uh-huh. Why is the killer here? I thought you'd have her locked up by now. I requested that she be present as a witness so that we may straighten out your complex lie. Now then, Miss Tonero, between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m., you took a trip from first class down to the first floor in the in-flight shop, correct? Yes, I went to the shop to buy a suitcase. After which I went straight to the attendant's room to drop it off. And did you see Miss Mealy there at the time? No. So, Miss Mealy, where were you really between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m.? Miss Cammy Mealy. Huh? Oh, the bathroom? I'll be the one to ask the questions here. Yeah, maybe that's it. I probably just missed her. Nature calls, you know. Do you take me for a fool? That's a little too convenient to be true. But it's the truth. Cross my heart. I don't have enough conclusive proof to counter-argue her at this stage. You don't believe me, do you? But please, won't you give me a chance and hear me out? Oh, okay. You're gonna give me additional ammo for no reason? No, look, I know you're suspecting me because I'm one of the crew. But you'd think then maybe you should also suspect Miss Rhoda, too. She's the one in charge of the elevator keycard in the shop, you know. And if you ask me, that makes her super suspicious. Please leave Miss Tonero out of the conversation. Only you are under suspicion for now. I don't get it. Why are you covering for Miss Rhoda all of a sudden? Oh, now I get it. Maybe you've got your eye on Miss Rhoda? Of course I'm keeping an eye on her. I can't very well let her escape, can I? Never mind. But you want to know something? Miss Rhoda actually kind of... I have absolutely no interest in people who can't appreciate my sense of design. Now's not the time for this sort of talk. Now then. Let's see here. See, now why would I be suspicious of her who's in charge of the shop? And what are you in charge of, Miss Mealy? I take care of all the attendants' rooms. That doesn't count. But I spend so much time in there, it might as well be my responsibility. Mr. Edgeworth, Cammy is very talented in languages, so she assists passengers who may not speak English, especially those who speak Borginian. She's the only one on this flight who is fluent. Oh, you mean that kind of what am I in charge of? Why didn't you say so in the first place? What else could I have meant? Yeah, so I'm really good at Borginian. She's fluent in Borginian. Then I suppose you're in charge of processing documents in Borginian? Yeah, I take care of anything that has to do with Borginian. Very interesting. Oh, I can't... That wasn't added? Okay, there's where it's added.
Objection!
Huh. So, you are the only one in this flight crew that speaks Borginian. Is that correct? Yeah, I guess so. I studied abroad in Borginia for a while. If that is the case, then this signature on this document belongs to you, doesn't it? Uh-huh. This is a falsified piece of documentation with only one purpose: to lead anyone who read it to believe that Mr. LeBlanc's statue was loaded in Europe. The only person who could have either prepared or processed this document in Borginian is you, Miss Mealy. Without your participation, the smuggling of the Aleph Red could not have occurred. Don't sleep while I'm pointing my finger at you. Oh, she's waking up. Oh, I wouldn't dream of falling asleep on you, Mr. Edgeworth. It is exactly as you say. Are you confessing to having participated in the smuggling? No, far from it. It's true that I was the one who signed off that document, but you can't use that fact alone to make your allegation of smuggling stick. There is no direct correlation after all. All you have is my signature on a piece of paper. Really? All you did was sign it? I neglected to check if the cargo had been loaded onto the plane properly. So, sorry about that. It seems that she's finally woken up. This is going to be one tough fight. Suppose, and this is just a supposition, even if I was involved in the smuggling, you can't throw the charge of murder on me just like that.
Objection!
If you were involved in the smuggling, you would have a strong motive to kill. Agent Hicks was in the middle of an investigation regarding a smuggling ring, and just when he was about to close in, he's killed by a member of that ring. Well, did you ever stop to think that maybe Rhoda is the smuggling ring member? After all, unlike me, Rhoda has access to many things on this plane for work purposes. So perhaps there was some element of a setup at play in this case. What are you talking about? Don't worry, I wasn't talking about you. I meant the killer. First, it was myself, and now it's Miss Tenero who is under the microscope. Seems to me that our killer is going to great lengths to pin this crime on anyone they can. You have no proof of that Rhoda is being set up, or that she isn't. Actually, I believe that she was indeed the intended target from the very beginning. I believe that the plan was to push all the blame for the crime onto her, and this evidence will prove my suspicions. Oh, what would that be, actually? I mean, is it just this, the suitcase? Probably, yeah. That's what I would guess.
Take that!
The killer could have hidden the body anywhere, and yet they chose the suitcase. Why is that? Perhaps it was to move the body from the lower deck to the first floor. However, why go through the trouble to do so? The only way all of these actions make sense is if the killer had wanted to frame Miss Tenero for the murder. Miss Tenero buys a suitcase on every flight she works without fail. But should her suitcase be switched with one containing the victim's body, that would put her in a very tight spot. Unfortunately for the killer, the turbulence put an end to that plan. There wasn't enough time to put the body back into the suitcase. Ergo, they made do with whoever was at hand, adapted their plan, and tried to frame me as I lay unconscious on the floor from the turbulence. The killer then went to hide the suitcase in the in-flight shop, and brought the piggy bank back to the elevator in order to fabricate a false weapon. A lot of work for a fruitless endeavor, wouldn't you agree? Sounds like the killer had a tough time too, huh? I mean, why did the killer need to frame someone that badly anyway? That is because of the special circumstances surrounding this particular case. Oh, that'd be who the murder victim was. The killer was at a loss for what to do with Agent Hicks' body, but as it just happened, there was a bunch of empty suitcases nearby. Being a skinny man, the killer thought to put his body in the suitcase and hand it off. Edgeworth, that is not what I meant Oh man, why'd you gotta do that to me? You mean the whole plan to frame someone was an elaborate coincidence? No, that's not what I said. You've wrongly deduced my meaning, Miss Mealy. The one with the wrong deductions is you. Think before you speak again. Patience, Franziska. I was about to reveal the truth. What special circumstance dictated... Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, the special circumstance was when the murder took place, right? No, it's where. Because only certain people have access to this room. The special circumstance is simply that the murder took place on a plane mid-flight. No matter which country, customs is quite strict in this day and age. So no matter what you do, the chances that the body will be found is very high. Therefore, there was no choice but to frame either Miss Tenero or myself. In other words, the only one who fits within the boundaries of the criminal's movements is not Miss Tenero or myself, but you, Miss Cammy Mealy. Only you, and you alone, could be the killer. And? Are you done already? I was about to fall asleep again. Anyway, let's be honest here. You don't have anything on me out other than a whole lot of circumstantial evidence. No, we can check you for the phone. I can see the outline of how the murder occurred, but I have no definitive evidence. And isn't there a piece of evidence that's still unaccounted for? Something that still can't quite fit into the big picture?
Take that!
I don't have any actual evidence. I thought not. But that's because it went missing, and still is. Missing? What do you mean by that? In the complex puzzle that is this case, there was one piece I kept getting stuck on. And that is the victim's cell phone. Franziska, you were waiting at the airport for a phone call from Agent Hicks's cell phone. Or at least, that's what you told me. That's right. But Agent Hicks's cell phone could not be found at the crime scene. You mean the killer took the phone with them? Precisely. I suspect that if we were to find that phone, it would lead us to the killer. Come on, get serious. If the victim fell to his death from that height, wouldn't his phone break as well? We won't know that until we try a little experiment, will we? Franziska, I'd like to ask for your assistance. You know the victim's phone number, do you not? Of course I do. Also, what do you mean it would break from that height? Have you seen... It's a flip phone. The battery's gonna fall out, and then it's gonna be fine. Hey, Agent Hicks's phone. It's ringing from somewhere, sir. I heard it, Detective. Now, where is it coming from? Does this actually have dynamic audio? Let me check. No, it does not. It's just having me check her. Miss Mealy, wake up. Sorry, Mr. Edgeworth. I got sleepy all of a sudden because it sounds like a lullaby I used to love as a child. I'd better find that cell phone fast. Oh, apparently it's not. I'm not supposed to just assume it's her. Oh, it's up here. Okay, well I guess the audio does change. You just had to actually go up into the room. The ringing's coming from somewhere in here, sir. Leave no stone unturned, Detective Gumshoe. We must find it. The ringing is coming from somewhere around here. But it's not here, sir. Why do I have such a bad feeling about where we're going to find the phone? Well, it's in the other one, yeah? The ringing's coming from in here, sir. What? No, it can't be. No, this has got to be the victim's cell phone. Just whose locker is this, sir? It's Miss Tenero's. But what? So, Mr. Edgeworth, how did it go? Where did you find the phone? I found it in the flight attendant's room, in Miss Tenero's locker. What? But Rhoda Tenero? I don't know anything about the phone. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Miss Von Karma, is it? I suggest you arrest Miss Rhoda Tenero right away.
Objection!
Wait. I have a theory. This is related to the incident with the keycard. When the killer went to steal the keycard, they conveniently stashed the cell phone in Miss Tenero's locker at the same time. This is related to the keycard, all right. In the same way that we have zero proof that the killer did just that. Ugh. The only voice that sings the truth is evidence. That is the one bird we cannot ignore. What should I do? Francisco's right. I can't offer baseless conjectures at this point. Alright then, why did the culprit take the cell phone from Agent Hicks? It must have something very incriminating on it, or in it. Hold it! Hey, I knew that one was coming. What now, Miles Edgeworth? It's not over yet. We have yet to figure out why the killer took this phone. What? Inside this phone lies the final piece of incriminating evidence that will point us to our killer. We need to examine this phone in more detail. Well, it's cracked, as expected. Can I take the battery case off? No. Oh, maybe? This must be the switch that opens the phone. Ooh, it's one of those kinds. I like these ones. Cracked inside and out, as expected. Power on, please. When did they start putting keyboards like these into cell phones? Hey, this is one of those computer cell phones that they started selling recently. Computer cell phones? Yeah, it's got a computer in it, and it's a cell phone. Neat, huh, Mr. Edgeworth? All you need is a phone and phone part. All you need in a phone is a phone part. Nothing more. I'm guessing you can't even send out email. Talk about inconvenient. Do you have a problem with what I do and do not care for, Detective? No, sir. As they say, simple is best. Wait, I can't turn it on? Really? Aw, come on, man. The LCD is broken. Without a screen, you can't even place a call with this. Okay, well, Edgeworth apparently doesn't know how to operate a phone well. That's very unfortunate. Do we check the camera? Ah, it's a camera lens. Come to think of it, I wonder, how exactly was Agent Hicks planning to preserve the crime scene of the smuggling? Franziska, I need you to confirm something. This cell phone, can it take pictures? Mr. Edgeworth, I can't believe you don't know about this kind of basic stuff, sir. This looks like a very similar model to my own. And mine can take pictures just fine. Do you think Agent Hicks could have taken some pictures with this? In particular, pictures as evidence for his smuggling case. If so, I'd say there may be some very inconvenient photos in here for our killer smuggler. But the phone's all busted up, sir. Even a super prosecutor can't repair a broken phone. I'll find a way, don't you worry about that. May I go back to sleep now?
Objection!
The LCD screens on the inside and outside are broken, that's for sure. But that's also reason enough to believe that the killer wasn't able to erase the data. What? What do you mean by that, Franziska? Oh my god. Edgeworth, he's stupid. And a boomer. Oh my god, Edgeworth, you don't know this? I know this. I had one. Well, actually mine was a bit... Mine was a slide phone. Much better in my opinion. I loved that thing. I would still have it today if it didn't break. And the thing is, it was built like a brick. It didn't physically break. It was a software thing that caused it to go out. Man, I miss those phones. What do you mean by that, Franziska? It looks like our killer isn't very familiar with electronics. This phone still rang when I called it, meaning that only the LCD screens are broken. It's possible that the photos are still there inside, waiting to be accessed. All we need to do is transfer the data to my phone. Franziska, your phone, if you please. Very well. Do you know how to do this? I'll do it. It's transferring. Alright, displaying it now. This is... Agent Hicks was most certainly trying to obtain some evidence for this smuggling case. Hey, the olive red's nowhere in this pic, sir. But this has no meaning as a piece of evidence in this murder case, right? She's right. There's not much we can find out from this about Agent Hicks' killer, sir. Is this it? Is this the end? Is there really nothing in this photo we can use? Well, I mean, he is literally in prime position to get pushed over, so we can assume this was taken moments before the murder. Yeah? Let's see, what do we want to inspect in this picture, actually? Oh, I can't actually... I pressed with Y, I had to use A. The guardrail looks exactly the same as it does now. That rail is entirely too low. I even almost fell to my death. However, I was saved by in a miracle-like manner. Perhaps that is what to run away from death by the skin of one's gums means. Try to narrowly escape death by the skin of one's teeth, Shakespeare. Now then, there must be something in this photo. Okay, I suppose that's not what we're going for then, yeah? Do we go for these? Let's go with these. And what's all this? Hmm? Oh! They are cargo shipped from Borginia to Zhangfa. So, the reason they aren't here now is that they were dropped off in Zhangfa. Mr. LeBlanc, can you tell me about the contents of the boxes? Unfortunately, there is no English written on them anywhere. One cluster of the boxes is written in Borginian. It says, hieroglyph, hieroglyph. It is cloth in English. Cloth? Could it be... Is this for the killer? What? What is that? What is for that scary face? Miss Mealy? Yes. It appears that the Agent Hicks was no ordinary investigator. He left us with a piece of evidence after all. A striking piece that will point out who his killer is. Ha! Maybe you shouldn't force your mistaken reading of a simple picture, Mr. Edgeworth. The Borginian cargo and this piece of evidence will point us straight to the killer. Where do we want to go with this? I mean, I think we just use the cloth, right?
Take that!
And what is that supposed to prove? The killer used this piece of cloth to wipe up the blood they had spilt. But there was one thing that bothered me about this whole time. Where did it come from? And now I finally have my answer in this very photo. The cargo that was unloaded in Zhangfa had cloth written on it. In Borginian, that is. And this is where the killer grabbed the piece to clean up the blood with. That's right. The killer was someone who could read and understand Borginian. And the only crew member that fits that description is you, Miss Cammy Mealy. Ha! That's pretty flimsy. The killer probably searched through all the boxes looking for something to use. When you're frantic, you don't care if the box is in English or Borginian. Sorry, but I cannot agree with your assessment of the killer's indiscriminate nature. What? There was no need for the killer to tear through boxes at random at all. And if the killer supposedly could not comprehend Borginian, well then... Logically, the killer would have opened this box first. Right here. Bedsheets.
Take that!
Hey! It says bedsheets in English right on this box, sir. Precisely. And bedsheets would be perfect for cleaning up blood, wouldn't they, you say? So, what are you trying to say? That if I were the criminal, this box of bedsheets would have been what I would have spotted first. However, the killer chose to use some Borginian cloth. Do you have an explanation for that? The killer didn't want anyone to know the real scene of the crime was this cargo hold. So they were afraid to leave signs that the box with its sheets had been opened. However, the Borginian cloth, well, that's a horse of a different color. Because the killer knew that it was going to be unloaded in the Republic of Zhangfa? That's right. That's why the Borginian cloth was used. And the only Borginian reader on board who can make such a calculated decision is you, Cammy Mealy. You and you alone. It would be very easy for us to confirm if any of the boxes were resealed. All we would have to do is contact the Zhangfa authorities in time. We may even find other evidence to incriminate our killer within those boxes. So, what do you say, Miss Mealy? Why not confess to your crime, here and now? Or would you rather wait and see what we find out from our investigation in Zhangfa? No! No! Bubbles. He was Interpol. I couldn't stop it. I brought him here. He started taking pictures. I couldn't be found out. was scared. I was in trouble. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. No. Just a bit of SpongeBob. Oh, look at that. They've already cleaned it up. Or mostly. Well, we finished making all the arrangements to take care of take the suspect in, sir. Very good, Detective. What about the smuggling route? Did she say anything about that? They're taking her down to the precinct now. Hopefully we can get more out of her there. Whenever we approached the topic, she just started foaming at the mouth. It was scary, sir. She probably wasn't prepared to commit a murder all of a sudden. One thing is for sure. The ring behind this whole mess means serious business. It looks like there's a lot more to this case than meets the eye. Mr. Edgeworth? I just wanted to say how much I appreciate everything you did. Thank you very much. It was nothing. In fact, I should be the one thanking you for your cooperation. But truly, if it wasn't for you, I might not be here right now. Instead, I can continue to serve our passengers as a flight attendant. I hope that, well, please accept this as a token of my appreciation. That's... I see. You don't have to take it if you don't want it. No, I mean, I would never turn down a lady's generous offer. Oh, thank you. I'm sure it'll serve you well. And remember, we here at GoU Airlines are always ready to serve, Mr. Edgeworth. Thank you. I'll keep that in mind. Now, I must bid you farewell. May all your skies be blue no matter where you go. I can't believe we wound up investigating the whole day, sir, but boy, was it fun. Speak for yourself. My day was filled with earthquakes, elevators, and false charges. By the way, where's Franziska? Oh, she's filling out some customs paperwork for her departure. Departure? Yeah, Miss Von Karma's always really busy, sir. She's been flying from country to country to chase down some leads regarding her case. Detective, can you cancel the car I had you reserve earlier? You got it, sir. Franziska? I thought I told you when you first landed. I have no time for idle chatter. I have no intention of wasting your time. However, it has been a while since we last met. I also have no time for such familiar reminiscences. Just who do you think I am? You are Franziska Von Karma, a very proud prosecutor deserving of much respect. Until only a little while ago, I was but a wretched mutt who was always losing to you. A dancing Piero, living her life on the name and fame of her invincible father. Bleh. A dancing Pirate living her life on the name and fame her invincible father built. True, your father, Manfred von Karma, didn't lose a single case for 40 years as a prosecutor. Just gotta get some exposition out of the way for the people who didn't play the other games. However, I wouldn't say he was invincible. What are you talking about? The group I'm on the trail of is a little more troublesome than most. The smuggling route we found this time is only one sliver of the big picture. Sounds like a dangerous assignment. You really don't have to worry. I can take care of myself. Yes, I suppose you can. Plus, there is another agent on this case with me. Oh, another agent? He's a star among Interpol agents and has the highest successful arrest rate. Who knows, you may even run into him one day. I was simply caught up in this one case. I hardly see why we would cross paths. I suppose. But I doubt he would say the same. I'm not following you. You'll understand soon enough. The fight has only just begun, Miles Edgeworth. I'll be back in this country soon enough, and when I am, you can be sure I'll pay you back, in full. She's so short. Like, compared to Miles, I mean... and just like that, she's gone, huh, sir? Thank goodness. I can finally rest easy knowing I won't have to watch out for her whip. Detective Gumshoe, I want to thank you for all your help and cooperation. Oh, it was nothing, sir. I was just happy to be able to work with you again. Haha. I think I'm going to celebrate by adding a little extra salt to my instant noodles tonight. Just how much did you cut his salary by, Franziska? Detective, I was wondering if you might give me a ride down to the prosecutor's office. Oh, sure thing, sir. I'll even fly down the road in the patrol car if you want. Don't make me remind you, Detective. Safety first. Don't want you crashing again. Thus I solved the first case upon my arrival home. Franziska von Karma, the smuggling route she was after. The leaders of that ring had already put their trump card into play.